have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And, don't worry, we'll get to the USA chants in a bit. But yes, USA, one of the more upbeat cartoon moments of the past 24 hours or so. Lots of cartoon land. So yeah, we are gonna have to go over Bragg and Trump and the dueling speeches. Like Bragg comes out with his like best rock impersonation, like the brow. He's got the one brow. Yeah, because he's daddy now. All right, he's gonna tell all the little children, no one is above the law. We will prosecute. What is going on here? I mean, my goodness gracious. And boom, I forgot to go live on the Rock. Let's make sure we're live everywhere. I got a little distracted because I got a little text ski and hutch. Really, it was an email. From the head of the network, Ray Dietrich, that they had received a copyright strike for my video that really hasn't gotten a lot of traction, by the way. Because everybody wants a sensational headline or clickbait, and we're already so heavily suppressed here on YouTube. I mean, a good thumbnail only goes so far. Guys, I put a lot of effort into the thumbnails. You know, we don't just take a screenshot. It's not just like me going, right? Try to do something relevant. And the Mackey meme case destroys the Russian narrative. They just got a copyright strike because they say that it promotes harmful conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not sure if they played the whole video that I did or they only played a certain part of it and YouTube's taken something out of context, but excuse me. We were citing real court cases, real posts, real identities. We were identifying the QAnon nonsense as just that, a hoaxerton, a hoaxy hoaxerton. No one's trusted any plans here. So what exactly was the conspiracy theory? That the FBI knew the Russian bot thing was fake? That GRU paper was nonsense? And that the real bots was microchipping the crew? It's mainstream news now. Mainstream news. Hoo-ah. You know, and that same network that you said was Russia, and election interference, and you're trying to criminalize all this speech because of it. That same network, right? I mean, I can't believe that that's balls, man. The only thing that I can think of, and again, I haven't seen exactly what the clip is. Maybe I'm going to get a text back from Ray so we can clarify it during the broadcast. Because we got another banger of a broadcast. We're not just going to do Trump and Bragg and the new banana republic we all live in. I got a slew of stories. I got plenty of clips outside that. I think in the second half of this broadcast, when we go premium, and then that's redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. This one's going to be just a tough one to listen to. I mean, I'll narrate over it, I guess, for the podbeaners out there, for the people that just like to listen in the background. But if we do it in the second hour, depending on how much time we have, okay, we're going to do the Beyond the Reset watch along. I mean, beyond that thing, we talked about it yesterday. It's got, I think, over 500,000 views now. And that's going to go mega viral. It's a matter of time, unfortunately, I believe, until YouTube clips that one off too. But again, people have to understand, my entire channel has been demonetized for several years because they say I'm harmful content, not because of conspiracy theories, but I discuss controversial topics. That's it. Think about that. It's an admission of guilt by the Trojan horse civilian system known as YouTube, okay? Known as the Great Resets gang's great narrative controller, that just because I discuss controversial issues and I'm not in the bounds of left or right, okay, I'm not beholden to Trump or the Democrats or anybody. And I'm beholden to humanity, believe it or not. That's not me just like postulate. I believe in us. It's not just USA. It's human beings. Human beings. I want us all to prosper, baby. I want a nice standard of living, with a society that can generally get along. When we have different ideas, we can talk it out, use the power of the pen or the keyboard or the mouthy, right? That's what I want. Not USA, because a lot of the USA ain't like that anymore. We're going to show some of that. I finally found this clip too. We're going to be playing this later, of Kevin O'Leary on CNN. And I'm not an O'Leary guy. First of all, I'm not a Shark Tank guy. I'll admit it. I've watched a couple binges here late night, just like I've watched a couple binges of, the Dateline murder thing that everybody watches, right? And by the way, side note, and the Kevin O'Leary clip, powerful. He just goes into how you can't invest on the East Coast, the truth about the economies, the truth about some of these cities now. We're going to show you some crime in some of these cities, over the top, right? While I was scrolling today and looking for different types of news stories that I also wanted to cover with this Trump Bragg mess, I saw a story where this Murdaugh guy in that big case that I don't even know if we mentioned once here. If you watch any other kind of mainstream news, okay, any mainstream news whatsoever, you know what case I'm talking about. The one where he allegedly not only killed his son and his wife, but then hired a hitman to have himself killed in a botch kill. There was maybe another murder, a really slimy case, right? And then he's got his almost identical son. I don't know the details, so I'm not even going to weigh into that. All right? But this guy's getting letters from women that are in love with him. And this is not a new phenomenon, right? So throughout modern history in this country, for some reason, when a man commits some of the most horrific acts imaginable, like killing your own son and your wife, pretty hardcore terrible. There's a certain amount of crazy out there. Remember, we used to have crazy? Like crazy existed, right? Even before all the psychotropic drugs that didn't fix crazy still continues to exist. Crazy exists. They write these serial killers, tell them how in love with some of these people, had girlfriends and wives in prison later. Go visit them. What? So I just want to put that into the dark cartoon universe, is that crazy's always existed. Now we're kind of glorifying it. We're embracing it. That's what's really scary to me. Okay? So, first things first. This indictment is awful. I will say this. By the way, again, this is, I'm going to say it again, this is a total and complete farce of an indictment, but I'm going to say I called it. What they're also not telling you in any of the media is that there are 3 payoffs here. It's Trump, the other model, and guess what? The possibility of a mystery child. I've always said Trump probably had more kids, right? Where he paid off his doorman to shut his mouth because the doorman knew about the mystery child for some reason. Now, I would assume that the doorman knows about the mystery child because he's saying hi to Trump every day, and Trump obviously had a relationship with the mother if there's a mystery child involved, and even possibly with that child at some point. Just saying. Again, all these charges are garbajo. I want to say that very, very clearly. And we are now in an open... Listen. We've been in a Hollywood infotainment, like, ridiculous, beyond cartoon-like society for a while. Really started to run up to a peak that right now is, I don't even know if we've hit the peak of unimaginability, especially with what happened yesterday, right? But just kept ramping up after 9/11. And, it was a slow burn until then. But in 9/11 said Homeland Security in your face. You like the paste, you're that good because you're going to get it in your mouth. Oh, that's not enough? Let's open up fusion centers. Let's absolutely 100% start making the American people into the domestic terrorists. Let's open up black sites around the world. Continue our MK Ultra torture programs out in the public arena when we show people sites like Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay. Okay? Openly did it. Right in our face, just like, I love you, you love me, we're a happy family. Can you imagine that? 24 hours a day in mittens in the heat, on your hands and knees, chained and shackled with your face covered. You don't even know the language, or maybe you do, because you've been around the Americans enough, or you know English. Torture. No problem. And then let's fortify it like we do elections, and let's create signature reduction. And via signature reduction, all the tech companies that we didn't fund through In-Q-Tel and don't currently control will automatically become Trojan horse civilian systems within our narrative. Still going on over at Twitter, by the way. Still, I'm just saying it. I mean, give me a follow at Jason Bermas. We could always use it. I need you guys to take these clips and share them with everybody. I wonder if I got that clip from Ray. Yes, let's see. Here we go. So, yeah, narrative driven by Russian informants. So it's a smaller clip. So I would assume that they say it's less context. Maybe we will we'll go over to Rumble and find that clip and play it live and see. Maybe we'll do that on the paid portion of the program so we don't get a strike. But no conspiracy theories here, Jack. Just a whole lot of reality. That's why it's Reality Rants. RedVoiceMedia.com. All right? Man, that sucks that they did that. And it just shows how ridiculous it is. I'm just a whittle guy. I'm not even that smart. Like, there are plenty of smarter people out there, like Book Smart, IQ level 100%. I'm not that arrogant that I don't know that. I absolutely know it. Where are you to articulate this message? We're in trouble. Again, you got a DA in New York who looks like he could eat Trump alive, literally, pun intended, doing his best WWE eyebrow and scolding, whether you like it or not, the ex-president of the United States, who I believe was cheated in 2020, and so do a lot of other people. Doesn't mean I love the guy, because I don't. Lots of problems. I spouted off about him yesterday. I mean, I could go down a list. Again, the irony that he couldn't stand up for Assange and stop his DOJ from going after them. And now because this is, make no mistake about this, okay? This is it's not just New York State Attorney General, all right? Other investigations, this is a DOJ-run program, Department of Injustice. All right, when you talk about the actual deep state and the intel community, yeah, this is their op. This is all thought out. I can't state it more thoroughly. If you've been watching, you know. As soon as Trump started talking about 2024, I'm like, they're going to try to arrest this guy. Again, not perfect. They don't like him. Far from perfect. They don't like him. So I'm like, all right, well, they're going to try to put him in jail or at least tie him up with legal cases, trying to say, it's an inability for him to run, or at least stop him up in between this whole thing. So they already suggested that the trial take place during primary season, the first one. Now, the Georgia case, the Mar-a-Lago documents case, all of it. And remember, they got Biden in their back pocket. A lot of people don't remember that. They've got Biden in their back pocket in case he wants to get smug about 2024 with those same documents, with the same document case. I want everybody to understand that too. So I don't believe they plan on having Biden. I know they don't want Trump. And I was saying back that they were going to try to put him in jail. Put him in jail for some stupid nonsense. Who gives a rat's arnis shizzle? I bet you Trump could have another baker's dozens, kids. I'm not saying he does, but it wouldn't matter to me. It wouldn't matter to me. I don't necessarily, again, give me a Rand Paul. Give me a Thomas Massey. Give me a Thomas Massey. Thomas, now's the time to run because you're the dude, man. It's time to step up to the plate. Like, you've been consistent on everything. In a lot of cases, you've been better than Rand. And look, I like Christy Lake. She was over at the Trump thing for sure yesterday. Gates was over there. Gates has at least impressed me with his anti-war stance and saying, hey, it's time to get the mother truck out of Syria. We need more of that. I mean, if there were Democrats on that train too, like every time I hear Ilhan Omar, I'm going to show you there's obviously the crazy conflict and footage coming out of Israel and Palestine right now. Speaking out against that conflict, yeah. Did she marry her brother to get him in here? Sure looks that way. Is that a dangerous, harmful conspiracy? He talks about controversial subjects. I mean, I'm talking about how our government and our military-industrial complex actually work. In the dark cartoon we all live in. Okay? So, I mean, this is a crossing of the Rubicon. Now, we don't just have a visual zombie puppet and a social climbing, sleep with your husband cackle monster in charge. The other guy that actually did try to be the president stumbled and fell all over the place. Failed on the COVID 1984 nightmare. And so much more, right? It's here. And the whole world is looking at this now. Right as the petrodollar dies, right as inflation isn't transitory, right as our energy reserves aren't really there anymore and we're not producing energy. It's not a coinky dink. It's by design. Sorry. I sure wish it wasn't. Love it not to be. By design. Why? Because this nation state and its sovereignty and its rugged individualist nature cannot and will not be tolerated in a predator class driven collectivist society. That's why the Beyond the Reset thing is so huge. So look, I'm not saying I have all the solutions. I'm not saying I can change it tomorrow. The only people that I'm harmful to are the ones that honestly want to make our lives worse and continually work to do so. When I say "our," I mean the collective of humanity, not just American citizens. You notice I don't sit up here and rant and rave about the border, right? Quite frankly, look, is that an issue? It is. It's a valid issue to talk about. And people should talk about it. And there's a lot of sub-issues that go along with that. But I sympathize with each and every one of those people because they're a target just like me. And whether they're the agents in the field understand it, and a lot of them do, by the way. I have a great friend who I'll say this. We grew up in similar socioeconomic statuses, at least as teenagers. He came up from the city, had it a little bit more rugged than I did, but I'd also come up from downstate, and my dad was in and out of the prison system, all that good stuff. And we didn't have much when we went off to school or whatever. He went into the military, came out of the military, and he's done all sorts of security work, ICE, worked on the border, seen these things firsthand, special units, in the West Coast as well. I don't want to go into all of it, but he watches a lot of my stuff and he gets it. And the thing is, he's as Puerto Rican as it gets, man. And I never bring race into it at all. Hispanic, doing the whole Spanish thing. But he understands how a nation works, and he understands how law works. Right? He understands there are bad people out there. There are monsters among us walking every day, and our legal system doesn't protect us from them. Just a little sub-story. Haven't even gotten... It's reality rants, I know. We're 22 minutes into it. We haven't even gotten to the Bragg clip. A lot to say today. Mount Pleasant man faces 120 years in prison for alleged sex crimes. Now, you would think this guy who has 12 counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, all right, they'd keep him in jail. No, out on a $120,000 bond. Out the next day. Why? If that, you've arrested him, all right? Now, everyone gets a fair trial. Yeah, let's do that with that guy behind bars. No. It's the dangerous January 6th insurrectionists that stay behind bars. Those people. Not the guy facing, the rest, not only the rest of his life, but 120 years in prison. 120 years, $120,000 bond. Goodbye. Great. That's how it works. So I'm gonna switch modes. I'm gonna go to this smug DA, Alvin Bragg, doing his best rock, lecturing us all about the rule of law and how things are supposed to be. So without further ado, here's Alvin Bragg to tell us why there are 34 counts against Trump in hush money payments that didn't meet the criteria of a crime to begin with, but somehow are 30-plus felonies. Here's that eyebrow. Get ready for it. There it is. Look at that. Yeah. Raised right brow.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here today. Earlier this afternoon, Donald Trump was arraigned on a New York Supreme Court indictment returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime.
Now, with an intent to conceal another crime, we're not quite sure what that crime is. I haven't seen it yet, but we're like cartoon level, even on the lefty shows yesterday. Because I was checking late night, I wanted to see what was going on globally. I checked Bloomberg Global. Even the experts are there. Like, is there a case here? Is there a case? Come on.
That is exactly what this case is about. 34 false statements made to cover up other crimes.
Other crimes. So what crimes are those? It was a crime and now it's other crimes. Again, we're in the dark cartoon of we say what we want, we do what we want. What a waste of actual resources in a state and city that actually needs to stop the corrupt. But they just embrace it. These are the real gangsters, man. Is that harmful to say? Is that controversial? Is that going to get me a harmful conspiracy theory strike? To say that the real organized criminals are the people in the system? No? No? Okay.
These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are. We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct.
It's already been normalized in New York. They've let out actual people who murdered people, and it got pled down or down to manslaughter. They were just letting these people out. They got catch and release in New York. Oh my God. We're not in reality here. Again, look at this guy. Cartoon level.
The defendant repeatedly made false statements on New York business records. He also caused others to make false statements. The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. This simply was not true. And it was a false statement that the defendant made month after month in 2017.
So, what they're going to try to do is extend every time that he lied, right? And then try to say it's legalese, like the statute of limitations for the crimes they haven't told you about yet aren't up. And then to go retroactively because they're charging him with that crime and these crimes that he lied in those other ones. So let's just throw everything at the wall and just 30 plus indictments, 30 plus charges in the indictment. Just unbelievable.
April, May, June, and so on through the rest of the year. For 9 straight months, the defendant held documents in his hand containing this key lie, that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. And he personally signed checks for payments to Michael Cohen for each of these 9 months. In total, the grand jury found there were 34 documents with this critical false statement.
So I guess each one of the documents that I'm not even sure are payments. I can't imagine that all the 34 documents that are signed are congruent with the payments, although you might sign on one payment 5 or 6 documents. So maybe it is. If it's only 3, right? If it's the 3 we're talking about, maybe there's more than just those 3. But then maybe, 10 documents on a settlement to say, hey, let's not talk about my mystery child, or hey, let's not get me divorced for banging models and porn stars. Hey.
Why did Donald Trump repeatedly make these false statements? The evidence will show that he did so to cover up crimes relating to the 2016 election.
Again, crimes relating to the 2016 election. Very broad. Not real. I mean, come on. Like, again, the inversion of reality is that they continually want to come down on people for talking about the Hunter laptop, but that did have a slew of crimes on it. Okay? We don't harp on the laptop here, but slew of crimes on it. We talk about it sometimes because it's a big deal. Everybody came out and said Russian disinformation wasn't real. They had videos of the guy. He had his father as pedo Peter in his personal phone. That's, because that's a good father-son relationship. On top of what? The diary that the mainstream media wouldn't touch. All these things, like real crimes. Nope. And by the way, yeah, that's a real crime. Like, you would have an investigation if your daughter was talking about inappropriate showers, and then there was a slew of video of you just sniffing up on everything, including small children. No big deal. No. We're going to talk about payments for non-disclosures for extramarital affairs, essentially, and hush-ups that everybody knew about. Everybody with a brain knew about. And unfortunately, hey, there's a lot of people that love to be tricked. I'm not gonna lie, we've gone over that. But my audience is pretty intelligent. You get it. Yeah, but we're crossing the Rubicon. Crimes he's covered up.
Donald Trump, executives at the publishing company American Media Incorporated, Mr. Cohen, and others agreed in 2015 to a catch and kill scheme. That is, a scheme to buy and suppress negative information to help Mr. Trump's chance of winning the election. As part of this scheme, Donald Trump and others made 3 payments to people who claimed to have negative information about Mr. Trump. To make these payments, they set up shell companies, and they made yet more false statements, including, for example, in AMI, American Media Incorporated's business records. One of the 3 people that they paid to keep quiet was a woman named Stormy Daniels.
They love the Stormy narrative. And here's the thing. You get what you pay for. I mean, a model's one thing, and an NDA, she might not be that vocal. But when you're talking porn crazy, all bets are off the table. Like, that woman, the more she's in the news, the more money she makes, not only in that business, but on the road. Again, it's that celebritard infotainment culture that we live in, right? It's that Instagram, Snapchat, shake that ass culture. What'd you expect? Trumpelstiltskin, right? And look, again, going into it, I knew all this stuff. But now we're making up crimes that don't exist and aren't in the indictment that are being covered up. And now we're talking shell companies? Okay.
Less than 2 weeks before the presidential election, Michael Cohen wired $130,000 to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. That payment was to hide damaging information from the voting public. The participant scheme was illegal. The scheme violated New York election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. The $130,000 wire payment exceeded the federal campaign contribution cap, and the false statements in AMI's books violated New York law. That is why Mr. Trump made false statements.
So again, good luck proving any of that in court. But again, it's not about proving it. It's about using lawfare against the guy, smearing the guy, like the impeachment stuff. Ridiculous. Both of them, over the top, cartoon level, and this is the extension of the dark cartoon. We're here.
About his payments to Mr. Cohen. He could not simply say that the payments were a reimbursement for Mr. Cohen's payments to Stormy Daniels. To do so, to make that true statement, would have been to admit a crime. So instead, Mr. Trump said that he was paying Mr. Cohen for fictitious legal services in 2017 to cover up actual crime committed the prior year.
What actual crime was committed the prior year? Oh, you're talking about. Like, look, I'm not even sure. What was it? Again, I don't know the details of the one time that he banged her, but wasn't it at Mar-a-Lago? I guess. I mean, did he pay her on the spot? Is that part of the story? I would imagine he at least gave her a tip. Pun intended, huh? So what crime did he cover up exactly? I'm not sure. The crime of soliciting a prostitute? I'm missing all of this. Or lying about sleeping with someone? Did he do it under oath? It's not a crime. And, you know, we got somebody with severe TDS in the comments section. Not surprising. Again, they're out there. They can't. If you were going after Trump for something real, okay. Or any of these guys. I'm not a Republican. You know, but I certainly didn't see when Dennis Kucinich brought up 30 plus articles of impeachment against the Bush administration, not only for the Iraq war and the war of terror that we all know were based in lies, and hate. When you had that, not even discussed. 30 plus. Would have loved to see a real impeachment there. Would have loved to see a real investigation in 9/11. Nope, can't get that. Instead, we'll have 2 fake impeachments on this dude. We'll spy on him from the outset and lie about that. We'll say the Russians interfered in the election, which is total fantasy land. Like literal total fantasy land. Just, I believe in unicorns, GRU. Like nuts. Craziness. Over the top. Oh, so they push that, and then the real bots are a bunch of trolls here in the United States, and then they go after them criminally. And one of them is facing up to 10 years in prison now. The other's a flipped FBI informant working in multiple cases that they already charged with some, but we can't know about because he's still protected. And they got this guy up here talking about, I'm not sure, is it the crime of a powerful person soliciting a prostitute or having sex with a prostitute for no money and then lying about it? What are we talking about here? I don't get it. Let's continue.
And in order to get Michael Cohen his money back, they planned one last false statement. In order to complete the scheme, they planned to mischaracterize the repayments to Mr. Cohen as income to the New York State tax authorities. The conduct I just described and that which was charged by the grand jury is felony criminal conduct in New York State. True and accurate business records are important everywhere, to be sure. They are all the more important in Manhattan, the financial center of the world. That is why we have a history in the Manhattan DA's office of vigorously enforcing white-collar crime.
Are you listening to this, asshat? We're more important than you because we're in New York. And not only are we New York, we're New York City, and we're Manhattan. By the way, can we get 100 thumbs up plus over on YouTube? Can you give a comment, not just in the live chat, but down below? And it's insane. I'm going to have to get rid of you can get rid of the one guilty, the guy who's just spamming, has nothing real to say. Guilty of what? We haven't even specified a crime yet. I mean, Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's unfortunate, man. Like, I wish that we could measure these guys and hold them accountable when they do bad things. But when you're on TDS level, just some people can't get over it. They're there, man. They want to see blood. They can't imagine another 4 years of that guy. And quite frankly, again, I could do without it. But hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So let's keep going with Bragg with the crime he hasn't specified yet, or the crimes he's going to specify, lying about crimes that were kind of maybe committed for the election. I don't know.
My office, including the talented prosecutors you saw at arraignment earlier today, has charged hundreds of felony falsifying business records. This charge, it can be said, is the bread and butter of our white-collar work. And fraud presents itself in all different forms here in Manhattan. We have charged falsifying business records for those who violated federal bank secrecy laws. We have charged falsifying business records for those who were seeking to cover up sex crimes. And we have brought this charge for those who committed tax violations.
So you're mobilizing the IRS on this as well, somehow. And you're talking about sex crimes, so we are talking about like soliciting a prostitute? So there's a payment on the scene of what did Trump wrote? Stormy. I mean, it could have happened. I'm not out of the realm. We're not cheerleaders here. We're reality guys. But what are we talking about? Wouldn't that? I don't even know what the statute of limitations are on something like that. And I'm pretty sure that they don't rise to a felony, nor would lying about it rise to a felony, right?
At its core, this case today is one with allegations like so many of our white-collar cases. Allegations that someone lied again and again to protect their interests and evade the laws to which we are all held accountable. As this office has done time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle. I'll now take questions.
So we're going to take a limited number of questions. There are no follow-up questions. One question per report.
Yeah, limited questions, I bet. Look, I want to hear it. Look at this guy.
The first question will be Rick.
Why now? Some argue that this is a political move. You're not known to be a political person.
He's being asked why now, but it's really, really low. You know what? It goes on for another. We got the meat and potatoes of it. We got the meat and potatoes of that. Don't we want USA for the end of this segment? And by the way, again, guys, I want to encourage everybody, come on over, redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Try it for $1 for the first week, and then it's only $10 a month, or lock it in with $100, save yourself $20. We're here Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern time, breaking it down, and we go premium in the second hour. And apparently, we're getting Red Voice Media's channel strikes from conspiracy theories. But let's get to it. Here's Trump, and look, Trump led strong on this one. You know, I listened to this yesterday when it happened. They cut from the Tuckster so he could give his address. You know, they keep playing that proud to be in America and YMCA. They're the Trump theme song. Okay, but here we go.
Thank you very much, everybody. And we have to save our country. God bless you all. God bless you all. And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. From the beginning, the Democrats spied on my campaign. Remember that? They attacked me with an onslaught of fraudulent investigations. Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Impeachment hoax number 1. Impeachment hoax number 2. The illegal and unconstitutional raid on Mar-a-Lago, right here. They're lying to the FISA courts, the FBI and DOJ relentlessly pursuing Republicans. the unconstitutional changes to election laws by not getting approvals from state legislators, the millions of votes illegally stuffed into ballot boxes and all caught on government cameras. And just recently, the FBI and DOJ in collusion with Twitter and Facebook in order not to say anything bad about the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, which exposes the Biden family as criminals and which, according to the pollsters, would have made a 17-point difference in the election result.
Now, I'm not even sure if that's Russian disinformation up until this day on this platform. Even though you literally have, like, CNN pundits now talking, the laptop's real. It's not Russian disinformation. And then on top of that, I mean, on top of it, it's not a good look. No, really? It's not a good look? And you can't have the... I mean, think about this. Yeah, Fox obviously is going to play Trump. You'll see it on OAN and Newsmax and all that other stuff. But you'll see snippets of this where they'll be like, he's still talking about the election denial. Like, it makes me so mad. Everything he said right there is real. And I got people in the chat, saying, Trump's in on it. No, he's not. First of all, Trump was never a politician. I think he was blind to a lot of this stuff. I also think he's had inside conversations where he realizes not only is his power limited, but things could get much worse than they already are. And when I say much worse than they already are, obviously they've targeted the dude. But that's the thing. You have to go all in. You can't sit back and say, well, you can't sit back and not say, hey, Julian Assange, you were right. Can't do it. Yeah, you got to stand up for the principles all the way, all the time. And he needs to start coming out right now and making his entire cabinet, not just talking about who he's going to have as his vice president, but his entire cabinet, and they all need to be vetted. And then they all need to come together. And it does. It needs to be, Christy Lake in there, Massey, Gates if he's real about stopping the war. You make a good Secretary of State if you're real about that, Gates. All right? All other things we might disagree with on the side. If you're going to bring me less war, I'd like that. Again, Rand Paul, maybe Mike Lee. A lot of people right now he could bring in and make me feel a little bit more comfortable. Because bottom line is, if we're going to address the realities of this thing, I mean, first of all, I don't even know it's possible he can get elected because we haven't changed the system whatsoever, and the machines have only become more prominent over the past 2 decades. And that's at the cornerstone of this whole thing. We need paper ballots, 1 person, 1 vote audits. Not magic fractional voting. Not magical algorithms. Do you believe in magic? They do. All right. And that's the thing. Trump, I think, thought he could run the country. Thought he had good people in the beginning. Cut certain deals because he's a deal cutter. Does have a huge ego, but failed on many levels. He did achieve, again, you watch that at the World Economic Forum. He had a lot of positive aspects. And he wasn't able to do a lot of things he wanted to. When he started talking about we got to leave Syria, and then all of a sudden the Duma gas attack happens, they put him in a tight spot. But you got to be able to stand up strong to those tight spots. But at the end, they just outright censored him. You can't agree with that stuff. And there are some people that say he's just playing the part. They're going to put him back in 2024. I truly believe they want to create such turmoil in this country that they've been trying to instigate violence, and they love that talking point of a civil war in this country so they can try to pit as many people against each other. It would never be the civil war you think. I promise. And I would want nothing to do with that in this society. But like I said, I think they got old Joey B in the bag too, Zombie J. because there's just going to be more and more charges coming up against Trump. They're going to try to totally tie him up and say that he can't even run for president. Let's continue.
And we needed a lot less than that, like about 16.9. It would have been in our favor, not my favor, our favor, because our country is going to hell. And we remember the 51 intelligence agents who said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. It didn't exist. It was Russian disinformation. Remember that? And that was all confirmed strongly by the FBI when they all knew that it wasn't Russian disinformation. And so much more. Our elections were like those of a third world country. And now this massive election interference at a scale never seen before in our country, beginning with the radical left, George Soros-backed prosecutor Alvin Bragg of New York, who campaigned on the fact that he would get President Trump. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. This is a guy campaigning.
So let's just stop it right there for a second. And I want to show this really quickly. I love the researcher. Big shout out to him. I've got a video of this gentleman apparently connected to Bragg and this whole techno-fascist system. He's got really one hell of a thread on this guy right here, Rashad Robinson. And he just has all the talking points, everything about manipulation and oppressed groups and the color of change. And what I really love about my man, the researcher, is if you go down here, here's some more of it. You know, if you can stomach why. He gives you the full source material. This is the video that we're going to watch over on the paid portion of the broadcast, or listen for free over at the InfoWarrior Podbean channel. But he connects him pretty heavily to Soros and Bragg. Look, I don't sit here and go, Soros all day. But Soros is a member of the Good Guys Club. You know, the one with Gates and Bloomberg and Turner and Oprah. You know, the ones that want to curb overpopulation because they're the good guys. The good club. You know, they're the super best friends, the superheroes. Yeah. Okay. Couple big stories. You know, Johnson & Johnson agrees to pay $9 billion to settle claims its baby powder caused cancer. You know, just $9 billion, 38,000 lawsuits. You know, $9 billion. Because we should always trust large pharmaceutical companies, obviously. Especially when it comes to our babies. Because they love us. You know, and Johnson & Johnson loves you. We were taught this on television. As a child, Johnson & Johnson's baby shampoo. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder. Baby, Johnson & Johnson. You know, no big deal, just $9 billion. $9 billion. No big deal. So, found this one interesting. Before we go to the other side, we'll do this news blitz now because we got a lot of videos to watch on the other side. Americans will need to wait more than 4 months for passport renewals as backlog grows due to pent-up wanderlust. Very bizarre. I mean, maybe you can rush them, but usually you get them with like a month or so. A month, maybe two. Especially in this. Is it America's wanderlust? I think that's a big excuse. I think it's more about control of movement, in my opinion. Like, if you think about, everybody was so pent up during the pandemic. How many people have, like, wanderlust money right now? How many people have that kind of scratchola right now? Seems bizarre. Seems a little wonky. Seems a little weird. Just say, it's weird. Tech exec dubbed Crazy Bob, who founded Cash App, is stabbed to death in San Francisco. Now, later on the other side of the paid portion of the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Sign up today. I'm going to show that video of O'Leary and how he's talked about you can't invest in California either. They're uninvestable. And a lot of these places have turned into what look like, we now live in the Banana Republic, but we have visual third world stuff going on. I have no idea the details of this case because they don't tell you any of the details of this case. All right, other than it was at 2:35 a.m. So maybe there's something more nefarious here because this is a powerful CEO connected to a lot of things, including SpaceX, by the way. This guy was in the room at some big ones. They haven't arrested anybody. There it is, SpaceX, Clubhouse, and Figma. Either this guy's, this is a hit, or it's just, look, crime's exploding, and it's not safe in San Francisco. Could be either. Could be either. Zombieland continues in Philadelphia as dealers and addicts are seen sleepwalking down a side street in crisis-hit Kensington neighborhood where fentanyl and tranq overdoses run rampant. Take a good look, guys. Take a nice little look-ski and hutch at this one. It's really good stuff. I mean, this is some zombie-ass shit. Bad. Not good. Not what we want. I can tell you that right now. Not great. Hard to look at. Hard to look at. Oh, it allows children to be children. Florida Senate approves bill banning minors from having sex change surgeries, as well as receiving prescriptions for hormone therapy and puberty blockers. Under attack for this. For the common sense Senate bill, which I'm glad has now passed through them. On the flip side, in the cartoon darkverse that we live in, wild moment, North Dakota pastor claims Nashville school shooter has been treated like Jesus being crucified after gunman shot dead 6, including 2 children. I mean, I wish I could make it up. But look, I'm not even a religious person. And shame on them. Shame. Ugh. I mean, we got to feed into the clown show. We got to feed into the crazy. That's the deal. Billionaire Brin, Pritzker, Zuckerman, and Ovitz issue subpoenas in the Epstein lawsuit case, the one we've been talking about. Okay? With the J.P. Morgan. These are big names, big faces. We could do a whole video on this. All right? Jamie Dimon knew in 2008 that his billionaire client was a sex trafficker, argued U.S. Virgin Islands attorney Mimi Luau. Staley and Dimon knew. Remember, just Staley involved in this case right here? Big time. Big time. Let's see. Wanted to go over this one quick. YouTuber prankster shot and wounded by target of practical joke. So, this guy's in a mall. There's a video of it, or at least the aftermath of it. All I'm going to say is F around and find out. I have no idea what he thought this prank was going to do. The other guy ended up shooting him. He's lucky to have survived. You know, maybe he's going to get a little play on his YouTube channel now. But again, always think about who you're running up on. Not everybody's going to think you're a funny guy. Just want to point that out there. Shocking chaos as Israeli forces storm Islam's third holiest site during Ramadan. Soldiers fired tear gas and stun grenades and beat worshippers inside Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque amid rising tensions as Jewish, Muslim, and Christian holidays coincide. Now, the footage, pretty wild, is all I'm going to say. Take a look. I mean, you know, some tension going on over there. Just, yeah, doesn't get talked about enough. All right, guys, I'm going to give the cue over to my producer. I do want to say I love you guys. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share, leave a comment down below, not just in the live chat. Come on over to redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Sign up for $1 today. Try out that first week. Again, lock it in if you really want to support the broadcast. You like what we do here. You know, we talk about a lot of other things, a lot of different angles. You know, we don't take it down the line. We're not partisans, right? So redvoicemedia.com/Jason/uncensored, $100 for the year or $10 monthly. We're going to say goodbye one at a time. Rockfin, we'll see ya.